Hey everybody, it's Sam here. So I haven't done one of these videos in a while, but I wanted to do one today. It's on the woman at the well, and this is out of John 4 through 26. So I watched a lot of sermons as I was looking into this, and they all start off with the verse in the Bible that says Jesus had to go through Samaria. And everybody talks about how strange it is that he had to go through there, because back in those days, the Jewish people and the Samaritans did not get along, and the Jews would literally travel all the way around Samaria to avoid going through it. But this was not the case with Jesus that day. He had to go through there, and he not only had to go through there, but he went to the well and he waited. And it all comes down to he had a divine appointment that day with the woman at the well. So my first question was, why was the woman going to the well? And the only answer that I could come up with is she was going to the well because she was thirsty. She was thirsty and she wanted something to drink. And as I started looking further into it, she starts to look like a whole other kind of thirsty. This is a woman who had had 5 husbands, and she was currently living with a man who was not her husband. So basically she was thirsting for purpose and identity and all kinds of things. She was thirsting to be filled up, and she was looking for her purpose and identity in all of the wrong places. And what this brought up for me is a lot of time as women, we will try to get into a relationship and we will try to create an image to suit the relationship that we're in. Like we may pretend to be smarter than we are, or we may pretend to be dumber than we are so that the person that we are interested in can feel smarter. We may pretend to have more experience than we do. We just try to create an identity and an image for ourselves to suit the man or the relationships that we're in. And so the first thing that hit me as I was looking into all of this is that we cannot create an identity for ourselves. We are created with an identity. And I think a big distraction is when we think that we can define ourselves and create ourselves to suit a man, then we are distracted completely from developing a relationship with God and learning who we are actually created to be and what we are created to do. And this is not a good thing, because the second thing that struck me is if we don't know who we are in Christ, then we will allow the world to tell us who we are, and we will allow that to limit us. In verses 7 through 10, we see Jesus ask this woman to draw him some water from the well, and her first response is, "How can you, a Jew, ask me, a Samaritan woman, to do this for you?" So basically she felt unworthy. She was counting herself out. Every experience that she had told her that this Jewish man would want nothing to do with her, a Samaritan woman, because the Jews looked down on the Samaritans, and back in the day women didn't get a lot of credit either. So she expected to be rejected. How many times we go into situations expecting rejection and we count ourselves out? Well, this woman almost counted herself out of an encounter with Jesus. Luckily, Jesus was not looking for things that separated him from this woman. He wanted to draw her to himself. So they had an encounter, they had a talk, and she was changed. And right after that, this woman goes and she immediately goes and tells people about Jesus, which was her purpose the entire time. Jesus used this woman who people had looked down on, who had made some mistakes. He talked to her, had one conversation, one encounter with her, turned her life completely around, and she set off and went and told people and brought people to Jesus immediately. And that is his purpose for everybody. He equips us all with different gifts and abilities to do so, but in the end, our purpose is to bring people to Jesus. And the other thing that struck me as I was doing this, I talked to a near and dear friend of mine, Shelly Harvey, and she was like, well, if I could have one conversation with the woman at the well, I would just ask her one question. And I said, what's that? She said, what is your name? And as I thought about that, her name is never listed in the Bible, and I was pondering over why that might be, because nothing in the Bible is by mistake. And the only thing that really struck me is maybe her name isn't in there because she could be any of us. She could be a Sam or a Shelly. You could just insert your name as the woman at the well. Anybody who has ever lost themselves in a drug or a purpose or tried to fill themselves with anything besides Jesus, you are the woman at the well. And the good news about that is that just like Jesus went to that well and he waited for her, he will come to you wherever you are. He is waiting for you. Just seek him. Thanks for watching. Bye.